I'd like to call to order the regular council meeting for June 13th, 2017. Can I have the roll call, please?
Mr. Sorese?
Here.
Mr. Roden?
Here.
Ms. McFerrin? Here. Mr. Scafidi?
Here.
Mrs. Stauffer? Here. Mr. Fury?
Here.
Mr. Steele?
Here.
Now, Ms. McFerrin will lead us in the invocation and pledge.
Father, we ask for guidance and direction in all city matters before us tonight. We give thanks to be able to be together. Let us continue to strive to make our community a better place. Help us to work together, and may we give our best always. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First item is the approval of the minutes from May 23rd, is it? Yeah, May 23rd. Are there any changes, corrections, anyone?
No.
Then the minutes will be approved as written. Next, we have audience participation.
First, we have Lauren Senstock.
Mr. Sengstock asked me to ask you guys to move on to the next person. He's in the restroom right now. So can we move on to
Sure.
the next? Sure.
Next, we have Bob Hughes.
It's over there.
Good evening, Council President, and moving Council President, that is. And this is Bob Thews, 2229 10th Drive in the Meadowood Complex. I apologize. I really wanted to bring this up at caucus, but I was a little late, and deservedly the meeting started on time, and I wasn't here. So I'll bring it up anyway. I really would like to address just something I think that as a community, Meadowood Homeowners Association would like to work with the city on. One is we're finding major, kind of not major, but violations of the city building codes, particularly on fences and stuff like that in the property. So we would like to work with the city on that and have the city, basically, now I can only say that at this point in time, I know we have informed the city that was happening. If something happened we don't know, we would like to work with you so the standpoint, so we could back it up and also enforce it as well from that standpoint. And the second thing on that issue is we have a homeowners association, okay, and as a homeowners association, things have to be approved just like they have to be approved for the city. Some of the things are getting approved in the city, and they're not going through. And I'm not talking putting in a shrub. I'm talking redoing the whole front of a house. It's being done. It's completely being redone. Rooms are being added, and we knew nothing about it. It's completely new to us, and obviously, we basically just want to be involved in that aspect. So all we're asking for, if you could, from your people from the city zoning area would inform the people, as we do, from the standpoint, we can approve our end of it, but the city has to approve their end of it. So that's really what we're asking for. So if you could accomplish that, would really be appreciative of that. Thank you very much.
Mr. Thews.
Yes.
Dave, didn't we address something like that at ARB?
I think all of our paperwork and our applications indicate that the city is only evaluating based upon the city codes and not the HOA rules.
Mm-hmm.
We point that out to them because
Right.
we have many HOA rules throughout the city, and we don't
Right.
govern those. So we do point out, even though the city might approve it, it might not be permitted with the HOA.
Okay, so
Right.
you are then bringing it up to the
Right.
people. That's the question I had, because we have, like I said, we have an individual that's putting a whole new front of the house on, and we walked down and it was totally by surprise. So they did not contact anybody in the homeowners association. All we're asking for, we pretty much are in agreement with everything, obviously with what you do, And with our end of it, all we ask for is that you meet our requirements, which usually are not strict or stringent, above and beyond what you guys have. So there should be no reason why they shouldn't be able to do that. But I'll tell you, it's on Trailwood, and it's a major renovation. They took the whole front of the house off, and it looks like they're adding a room. And I mean, it's a big deal, and nobody knows about it. So
It's also,
asking to share that. That's all.
at the building department, there's a big sign too, when they go in to get permits that say, make sure you've checked with your homeowners
Yeah.
association.
Okay,
So,
well,
and
they're
that's,
not. So we'll work, really the way our homeowners association is written, they're supposed to go to us first before they go to the city, before they're permitted to go to the city. However, in this case, we also, the second issue is there are violations that are happening, particularly in fencing, that's being put up in the community, and we would gladly go in and support the city, because we know it's a violation of the city code. We ought to be able to go together as a team and just handle it together. So that's all we're asking for. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I got it here.
Okay. Mr. Sangstock?
Lawrence Sainstock, 2704 Arbor Drive, Arbor 105.
Yeah, sorry, coming back from a project there I had to work on. I wanted to bring to council's attention the 2018 tax budget you're going to be looking at tonight. Having been a finance director many, many years, even retired, I had a chance to look at your tax budget, and that's ordinance 70, 2017. And I noticed that on page 4, under the general fund, that under the expenditures for 2017, the estimated amount appears to be off by about $5 million. It's a substantial amount considering you're projected to have only $6 million at the end of 2018. This city has spent from 2015, $19 million in cash, has spent that down to probably less than $1 million at the end of next year. Now, you might want to have the finance director review the numbers, make sure they're correct, but looking at your reports online, that's what I see. To drop from 19 million to less than $1 million in reserve cash for an operation of $26 million, $30 million a year in the general fund is something that everybody here should be alarmed at. I mean, you could effectively have the city be broke by the end of next year. And I'm not saying that as alarmist. I spent a career helping cities out of financial problems. I see it as a problem. I'm being sincere, and I think that this council better be aware of the fact that you seven are going to be the ones with the fingers pointed at. This city runs out of money and has to face the potential hardships of not being able to do capital improvements, not being able to pay these employees. I like this city, I enjoy living here, and I don't want to see us go backwards. And so this city needs to talk with the mayor, your finance director, and figure out why you're bleeding cash out of your operations. I'm not talking capital improvements, I'm talking operations. That's the difference. Mostly people, benefits. So unless you want to see the city services impacted, the city council is on record, I'm on record now. They're saying you need to do something because it's getting serious. You've spent a huge amount of cash in the last 4 years. And if you just look at your general fund, if you got any questions, you can call me. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any others?
Yes. We have Michael Turl. Oh, Michael T. Turl. Now I see it.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Council President, Mr. Mayor. My name is Michael Turl. I'm a Boy Scout with Troop 223. And tonight I've come to talk a little bit about my Eagle Scout project. So, as many of you hopefully know, the township, along with the city and Reminderville, are celebrating the township's bicentennial 200-year anniversary, and to help commemorate that, I am helping with the excavation. I'm not helping. I'm leading the excavation of a time capsule buried in 1976. While also burying a new one set to be in the ground for another 40 years. So, in order to preserve the integrity of the things I intend to bury in this time capsule, such as school yearbooks, memorabilia from the schools, the Rotary, the Chamber of Commerce, many other city functions, and artifacts of late 2010's culture. To preserve the integrity of these things, I intend to purchase a professionally made heritage time capsule. Now, depending on the amount of funds I am able to raise, the capsule we're going to purchase will differ. But to help defray the cost of this capsule, I would ask that the city of Twinsburg be kind enough to extend a monetary donation towards the purchase of this time capsule. Not half an hour ago, I was at the Reminderville Village Council meeting. They have agreed towards extending some kind of financial aid, and the very Wednesday of next week, I intend to go to Twinsburg Township Committee trustee meeting and ask them the same question.
Do you have any idea of what the price you're talking about? I imagine they vary, but do you have any?
The cheapest time capsule, the least expensive time capsule, is a little less than $500, and the most expensive time capsule is a little less than $3,000.
Okay. Sizes?
The smallest time capsule, the cheapest also, has inside of it roughly a little less than 3 cubic feet. The largest has a little less than 10. And there are 2 sizes in between each of those.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and guess you want to probably use the biggest one so you could store more.
If we can get enough stuff to fill it, I would love to have this large time capsule, the extra large sized.
There's been a lot of discussion at the bicentennial meetings, which have been going on for a period of time. So I think there's a general consensus that the larger the time capsule, the better. And I know you're engaging in fundraising outside of the municipalities also with doing different things. So Michael spent a lot of time and effort in this particular project. I don't have an issue with the city contributing something to his efforts. I'm not sure where you're at with your fundraising at this point.
On my own, I've been able to raise just short of $200, but I intend to redouble my efforts and increase that exponentially.
And do you know what the village is offering or going?
An amount has not been discussed, but they have agreed, or at least Mayor Alonso has assured me that there will be some form of assistance provided to me.
Where's it going to go?
The time capsule is going to be buried in Crown Hill Cemetery, either in the exact same vault that the old one is currently buried in, or somewhere else. It's not important, but Crown Hill Cemetery.
Okay. We will address that and get back to you.
All right. Thank you.
Right?
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Any others?
There is none.
None? Okay, thank you. Presentations, Mayor.
Right on. So we've got a number of presentations tonight. The first one is going to be to Lieutenant DeVito Staub. So if you want to come on up, and I'll have the chief and assistant chief come up. So our fire department does an excellent job in terms of its training and the different things they get involved in. A lot of times it's on an annual basis. But this particular training that I'll say Gina went through was basically a 4-year program the National Fire Academy, and this is the Executive Fire Officer Program. So there was an extensive amount of research and coursework that she did, and this is a level, above any annual certifications or work that our fire department is required to do. And just a list, so there was applied research projects that she had to do, and I'm just going to read off a few of them that she participated in. So pairing patient needs to emergency department resources, developing a medical transport standard operating procedure, constructing a cardiac health risk profile, building the foundation for a community cardiac wellness program for the city of Twinsburg, impact of the aging population on EMS operations at the Twinsburg Fire Department, and identifying operational guidelines, the 800 megahertz digital radio system. So there was a lot of effort I know she put in outside of work to make sure this was accomplished, but the city's proud to honor her here tonight, and I'm sure Chief would like to say a couple things.
We do want to join in just in congratulating Gina in achieving this accomplishment, really a milestone in her career. Gina joined the department as a part-timer in March of '97 and was hired then full-time in '99 and was promoted to lieutenant in '06. And so she's, throughout that time, has been really focused on continuing her education and just pursuing every opportunity she has to learn more about the fire service and how to serve the community. So at this point, we just wanted to recognize her and celebrate with her the fact that now she might have a little bit of free time to do some family things. And along with her husband Herb, her son Solly, and her mother-in-law Kathy, we just want to congratulate her for all that she's accomplished. This is a certificate from the city of Twinsburg for the accomplishment. This is actually the certificate she got from the National Fire Academy for completing the program. Yeah.
Why don't you let her? Mark's gonna have to crop me up.
Once again, I can't help but notice that the scouts showed up on a night we provided cake. Trying to figure that out.
All right. So again, we've got a couple more presentations. So we've got 2 Eagle Scouts that we're going to be recognizing tonight. And again, this is, it's we've got some really strong Cub Scout organizations here in Twinsburg that do a lot of great things for our community. They do Eagle Scout projects, but they're also involved in a lot of different things that just occur within the community that the residents may not see or hear of. So, I want to thank the Scouts as a whole, but tonight we're going to be talking about 2 of them specifically. So first I'd like to bring up Michael Ramirez. So we have a proclamation I'm going to read. Whereas the administration, council, and residents of the city of Twinsburg, Ohio extend congratulations to Michael Anthony Ramirez for his achievements in earning the rank of Eagle Scout. And whereas Michael Ramirez began Scouts as a Tiger Scout in 2006 and Cub Scout Pack 67 in Twinsburg, Ohio, sponsored by Faith United Methodist Church. He earned the Arrow of Light Award in 2010 and received all 20 of the Webelos activity pens, earning him the Super Achiever Award. He crossed over to Boy Scout Troop 223, sponsored by the First Congregational Church of Twinsburg, in March 2010 under the leadership of Scoutmaster Peter Dale. And whereas Michael obtained the rank of Eagle Scout in March of 2016 under direction of Scoutmaster Scott Brandstetter and Peter Dale, he will be the 62nd to join his fellow founding Scouts of Troop 223 in the rank of Eagle Scout. Michael has held the positions of Assistant Senior Patrol Leader, Troop Webmaster, Troop Scribe, patrol leader, and assistant patrol leader. And whereas for his Eagle Scout project, Michael made 100 activity bins for the Cleveland Clinic's Children's Hospital, filled with various activities and items such as coloring books, word search games, stickers, bubbles, playing cards, silly putty, stuffed animals, construction paper, folders, art boxes, colored pencils, crayons, and a ruler. Michael organized a car wash, solicited donations, and was able to put together a bin worth $36 for only $12. And whereas Michael has participated in cross country and was honored 2 years in a row with the Scholar Athlete Award, and will be attending Bowling Green State University in the fall to pursue a degree in finance. Now therefore, I, Ted Yates, Mayor of the City of Twinsburg, express my congratulations to Michael Anthony Ramirez on achieving the prestigious and honorable rank of Eagle Scout. I further congratulate his parents, Jesse and Cindy Ramirez, and brother Anthony, along with family, friends, and fellow Scouts as they gather to commemorate this special occasion. Next, I'm going to bring up Peter Weiss. Both Peter and Michael I've known for a long time, so this is a special honor for me tonight. So, again, we've got a proclamation here for Peter. Whereas administration, council, and residents of the city of Twinsburg extend congratulations to Peter Gerard Weiss for his achievement in earning the rank of Eagle Scout. And whereas Peter Weiss joined Cub Scouts in 2006 with Cub Scout Pack 67, sponsored by the Faith United Methodist Church of Twinsburg. He started as a Tiger Scout and advanced through the Wibolo Scout ranks. He received his Arrow of Light Award in March 2011 and crossed over to the Boy Scout Troop 223, sponsored by the First Congregational Church of Twinsburg and led by Scoutmaster Peter Dale. And whereas Peter continued his scouting career under the leadership of Scoutmaster Peter Dale and Scott Brandstetter, he has held the troop positions of Assistant Patrol Leader, Chaplain's Aide, Assistant Senior Patrol Leader, Patrol Quartermaster, and Troop Guide. And whereas for his Eagle Scout project, Peter was involved in researching, planning, funding, and constructing a replacement fence around the Butterfly Garden at the Twinsburg Library. With the help of family, friends, fellow Scouts, and the staff of the Garden Club of Twinsburg, Peter coordinated and supervised the construction and installation of a wooden fence. The fence improves the appearance of the garden as well as increased protection from harmful wildlife, making the garden a pleasant place to rest and take in the activities in the garden. Peter has participated in many school-related and extracurricular activities, such as cross-country and track. He's played alto sax in the marching band, concert band, and jazz band. He is a player and referee for the American Youth Soccer Organization and is part of the National Honor Society. Now, therefore, I, Ted Yates, Mayor of the City of Twinsburg, express my congratulations to Peter Weiss on achieving the prestigious and honorable rank of Eagle Scout. I further congratulate his parents, Philip and Jane Weiss, brother Gordon, and sister Vivian, along with family, friends, and fellow Scouts as they gather to commemorate this special occasion. Thank you so much. We do have some cake for our fire department. I'm sure the Boy Scouts are going to participate in that. So at this time is probably a good time for you guys to break and head out there. But congratulations.
Sam. I'm gonna text Basso, save me a piece.
Next, we have council communications and committee reports. Mr. Scafidi.
Thank you. Good evening. At the last Board of Zoning Appeals meeting, there were 2 appeals. Appeal number 5, 2017, which was an architectural firm was in representing a Sharon Brook Drive resident proposing a new front porch. They were looking for a 10-foot front yard setback variance, and after reviewing the variance, the board approved it 5-0. It was unanimous. We also had appeal number 6, 2017, and that was a Sunview Drive resident came in is proposing a new detached garage, going to be removing the existing garage and putting up a new detached garage, and he's looking for a 100 square foot floor area variance, and once again was unanimously approved by the board. Excuse me. So at this time, I'd like to make a motion that we waive the 30-day waiting period on appeal number 5 and appeal number 6, 2017. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Sorese, any discussion? Jan, call the roll, please.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. Sorese?
Yes.
Mr. Roden?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Ms. McFerrin?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Okay, and that was it for that meeting. The next meeting, the proposed meeting, I guess, at this time for the Board of Zoning Appeals will be June 28th, right here in the City Hall. Other than that, my other committees have not met. Oh, I did have an opportunity. I was at the Memorial Day Parade, and once again, the VFW did an awesome job with that parade, and it was very well attended once again. And it turned out to be a nice day and another great event. So that's it. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Stoffer.
Okay, I have a few things from the architectural review meetings. On May 18th, there was a pergola was approved for 94611 Longfield Drive. There was also a demolition of 2424 Glenwood Drive, a demolition of a single-family dwelling that was approved, along with the issuance of a certificate of appropriateness was also taken care of at that time. 10191 Corbett's Lane, a 3 Seasons room was approved as submitted. There was a Pulte home on 2087 Spring Ridge Drive that was approved as submitted. Corbett's Lane, a single family dwelling was approved as submitted by Pulte Homes. Another one on 2687 Hunter's Ridge by Ryan Homes was approved as submitted. There was actually a few other homes on Hunter's Ridge that were approved as submitted. There was a sign above on 8982 Dutton Drive that was approved as submitted, and the new signage for Starbucks was also approved at that meeting. On June 1st, there were a number of items on the agenda as well. 1281 Sharon Brook Drive, an addition was approved as it was actually approved as noted pending approval of the BZA. There was a couple of homes by Ryan Homes that were also approved as submitted on 2732 Hunter's Ridge. There was another home on 9418 Chamberlain Road, a single family dwelling by Rockland Homes was approved as noted. 9017 Maryvale Drive by Koblenz Home was approved as noted. And that's all that I have for that. There's a couple of other things, but they're going to be pending and they're coming back to ARB. Will be an ARB meeting tomorrow, or Thursday, June 15th at 5:30 here in the City Hall. And that's all I have.
Mr. Fury.
Thank you. The Park and Recs will meet on Thursday, 6/22 at 6:30, and the Finance Committee will meet 2 weeks from tonight. That's 6/27 at 6 p.m. I did receive a letter from the Operations Director at our Community Hunger Center, Terry Pieto, and I'd just like to share it briefly. In the month of May, we served 1,318 people, consisting of 549 seniors, 655 adults, and 276 children.
Statistics are courtesy of the Akron-Canton Regional Food Bank. As a choice pantry member of the Akron-Canton Food Pantry, those we serve are able to select from a broad range of items and choices to their liking. Thanks to the many who make our effort caring for each other a reality, and we appreciate the support of the Twinsburg community. They're located at 9733 Ravenna Road, right off the square, and they can be reached at 330-963-3663. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Rowe.
Yes, there was a new committee that was kind of formed through the Environmental Commission with the under Earth Day. It's an Earth Day committee, excuse me. They met last night at 6:30 at the building department's conference room. They had a great discussion about kind of having more fun and educational pieces to the Earth Day that'll be coming up next year. And they will be meeting again on July 31st at 6:30 again in the evening, and that's at the building department conference room. Everyone's invited to come and be part of that if you'd like. And then an important reminder, we have free document shredding. The day is this coming Saturday, June 17th, from 9 a.m. to 12 noon at the Twinsburg Public Works. It's for Twinsburg, for our residents as well as the Twinsburg Township resident. There's a limit of 10 boxes or bags per car, and there'll be 2 trucks on site to be able to take care of all the cars. And I know we've had a lot of interest and a lot of people participating. So that is it for me this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Steele.
2 of my committees met. The Planning Commission, they had a request for a similar use permit for the First Merit building. There is the lady in town wants to make it into a bistro, small community box theater, and an art gallery. 2 out of the 3, the bistro and the art gallery, are permitted in that zoning, but the theater portion is not. The Planning Commission felt that they voted to make it a similar use, but they did put a condition on it that it be a similar use, but permitted with a conditional permit, so that if this project goes through, if the theater, if it falls apart and they stop, nobody can go in there and do the theater again without getting another conditional use permit. Okay, I believe that's coming. Have you heard from the Planning Commission, Mr. Maestros?
I have not.
Okay, it has to come to us. So that's that with the Planning Commission. We had a Golf Advisory Board meeting last night. That was interesting. Because of our construction that's going on up there right now, we are down to, I think Brian said, around 2,500 rounds. Okay. Part of that is because of the limited parking that we've had. What's basically happened is if the tee sheet gets filled up between 8 and 10 in the morning in the past, and now we have the parking lot open, we're not running into this, but we had a problem where the tee sheet filled up, we didn't have any parking to keep putting people out on the course after the 2 or 3 hours. We had to wait for all the people on the course to get done before they could open up and put new play out. So that's moving forward. The course looks really, really good. It's obviously spring, it's green. We have a lot of the, we discussed last night, a lot of the details are getting taken care of, and I think we're headed in the right direction at the golf course. And that's it.
Thank you.
And I too was at the Memorial Day Parade with Mrs. Stoffer and Mr. Scafidi.
Thank you. Mrs. McPhair.
I have no reports.
Thank you. Mayor?
Thank you. Good evening again, everyone. Just going to talk about a few things. Apologize I missed the last meeting. I was at my son's graduation, so I guess in tune I'd like to congratulate all the graduates of the high school. I've got to know a lot of those kids, and it's a really good group that we're sending away from here. So good representatives of the city. Another thing with the school that I always attend is a Breakfast of Champions at Dodge. You know, these events that they do, recognizing these kids and really the values that these kids, they're trying to instill to represent as they grow up in our community. But it's always a pleasure to see all the kids and be part of that particular program. So it's been a long time since my kids have been through there, but I always enjoy going back. I unfortunately was on vacation to the Memorial Day Parade, but it's always a very special event here in town. I want to thank Sam for stepping in and saying a few words for me, and the rest of the council that was able to attend that. But you know, it's a very special time here in the city, and it's one of the events that I really truly always like to attend, but was out of town visiting family. Another event I was able to go to was a chamber golf outing this year. It's always very well done, very well attended. The course is in fantastic shape, so everything is really coming along. I mean, the last few years we've been under construction on the course itself. This year we're really just working on mending it and getting it in pristine condition, and they're doing a really good job. I mean, there's a lot of compliments that we got regarding the course itself. The parking lot and the construction is a mess, but we're working our way through there, and we've fortunately got the upper part of the parking lot open, so I think we've eliminated some of the parking issues, but it's still going to happen when we have some big events. So those that play, just be patient and do what you can to carpool if you're in leagues. If you're going to an event there and you know someone else going, try to pick up a couple of friends and go there versus having 3 cars show up. So just bear with us. I think at the end we're all going to be very proud of the facility that is being constructed there. As mentioned, a couple things going on. We've got the shredding event coming up this Saturday starting at 9 o'clock. So I know a lot of effort goes into that. Something that wasn't done for a few years. We did it last year and it was a huge success, so we added a different day. So I think we've got 2 events scheduled. This is the first one for this year. So that's Saturday at 9 a.m. Let's see. A couple other things that are going on. We've got, if you weren't able to attend it, you probably drove by and saw it, but our Market on the Square, which is a new event for Twinsburg, we've been working really hard to try to get some more activity and life into our downtown area. And we were fortunate. I was approached by Jackie Thompson, formerly known as Jackie Houston, who was kind of born and raised in Twinsburg, still has a heart for Twinsburg, and said she organizes what's called the Hudson Flea, and said, I want to bring this to Twinsburg. What do you think? And Derek and I met with her, and we kind of embraced the idea. And I actually talked to her this afternoon. I was able to attend it for a short period of time. But I mean, to see the life that we had in our square this weekend with the food trucks, and we had over 70 vendors, and it really was a high quality event. So if you were able to go to it, I mean, the level of the vendors and everything that just was there was just, everything that I envisioned when we first met and talked about having this event there. So we've got 3 other dates. Basically, it's the second Saturday of each month, except for August. We had to move August because there is going to be Relay for Life going on the second Saturday of August. So I think the Market on the Square is going to move to the 26th. But I encourage you to go to it, support the vendors there. There's really a lot of really unique and creative people that are participating in that with her. So, but anyway, I just was real excited when I showed up, and there was just mobs of people in our square having a good time and enjoying the sunny day. Last thing, which I think Derek will probably talk a little bit about, is we've got our Rock the Park series underway. We had a successful concert, Cavs watch party. Fortunately, they won that night, so it was a good night. We've got 2 other events coming up here this month. We've got Jersey, which is a Bruce Springsteen cover band. And then we have Building 429, which is a Grammy-nominated national Christian rock band. So it's a new genre for us. So I encourage everyone to come to those 2 events for this month. And I believe that's all I have this evening. And we do have some department head reports, and I believe Karen's going to go first tonight.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to report that we have received our first advance for income tax, and currently, I'll give a full report on our second council meeting. But right now, we're up for the month by 4% and down for the year thus far 5%. I'll give you a full detail on that report once it becomes available at the second council meeting. To address the 2018 tax budget, I don't think it's necessary for me to give you my credentials because I think you know I've been in this profession for over 30 years, so I'll let my experience speak for itself. But what I will state is your concern for 2017 as far as the balance, as far as what we've expensed and what is appropriated. What's appropriated is over $13,188,000 in our general fund. However, if you look at the history as far as what we expense, we normally spend between 80 to 85% of our total projected budget. And so with the number that you see in the tax budget reflects 15% reduction of our projected $32 million balance that I have presented. So if you look at your history, you'll know that over the years, we've spent, again, on average between 80 and 85, and that's the reflection of the 2017. So there's no error there. In relation to, we're going to be somehow or another down to $6 million, I have to project what the numbers are. And again, they are projections subject to amendments, and we have that ability to do that every single year, every single month. These numbers that are projected is not committal. We do have a very active council board. We have an active mayor who we diligently have finance committee meetings, and we review these budgets. We review the financial documents that are presented to you every single month. So the things that are presented or things that are being discussed is something that you actively do already, and I do want to inform the residents that you are quite aware of the activities that occur financially. Keep in mind that we did rescind the 0.25%. At one point, we did have 2.25% that we budgeted, that the residents were kind enough to vote for. Based on that, that increased our general fund quite significantly, where it almost went to $27 million. We were ending in our reserves. Ironically, when we had a high reserve, we had a complaint that we were hoarding the money, we weren't spending it on capital projects, et cetera, et cetera. Now that the 0.25% has been rescinded, we did anticipate that the money was going to be reduced because of that decrease in our income tax. So as a reflection of that, that in part is why we have a significant reduction in our revenue stream and why it shows that we are using our reserves from one year to another. But what you can see over the trends and looking at our trend reports, that you do see that even though the projections say one thing, when we do expense, we do our due diligence. Every department head takes the time and insurance to make sure that they spend what they need to spend. And most of our expenditures are with salaries. Our largest expenditures, as you know, is our public safety, of which we treasure. This is something that our citizens expect. They want to have a safe community. And the other thing that we spend is our capitals, on our streets. Again, to have roads, to good roads that are in good condition. So all of these things that we are expensing, we're not just spending money irresponsibly. We're spending money and we're letting the public know what exactly we're spending and how we're spending it. And we encourage anyone, if you have any questions, call me, not someone who makes a prediction, predicts that it's going to rain every single day. Call me with the accurate information. I will be happy to answer any question you have. That's all I have to report.
Thanks, Karen. And just to add, I mean, Karen and I spent a lot of time talking about our finances. I mean, that's one of our biggest concerns. I mean, we spend, you know, about $4 million into our reserves, which in essence is what we've lost in our 0.25%. And, you know, our unions, we've negotiated a lot of contracts. Our unions, while they won't have a short-term impact, long-term, hopefully it's going to be able to curb some of our growth in our salaries and help us work back toward, you know, having a balanced budget. And as we bring in additional businesses and businesses expand, hopefully we'll start seeing again an upward trend of our revenue. But whether it's capital or operational, I mean, it's all coming from the general fund. So you know, you can dissect, you can do what you want, but numbers are numbers. It's, you know, either we put money in the capital from general fund. So we spent a lot of time working on that, and trust me, it's, you know, I wish we were building reserves again and we didn't have this issue, but it's something that we're dealing with and that we're quite aware of. It's nothing that's, you know, has jumped up as a big surprise in the last week or two as we prepared this tax budget. So, all right, moving on from that. All right, so from a report standpoint, Chief?
Good evening. For the month of May, the fire department responded to 254 calls for service. That is just 3 calls short of our all-time high. On the year we ran, year to date, the end of May, we ran 1,157 calls. That's up about 18% from last year, year to date. A couple of notable calls. You may recall that on May 9th, the evening of the last council meeting, or the first council meeting in May, I came from a fire call that happened on Post Road. Significant damage to an attached garage. We were able to get a good stop on the fire, and there was minimal damage to the living area of the house. So the residents were able to stay in the house. We received mutual aid from Reminderville, Solon, Oakwood, and Aurora. And at this point, the cause of the fire is going to be undetermined. Unfortunately, one of the big problems with investigating fires is a lot of the evidence is destroyed. So we were able to locate the area, but we couldn't really just nail down the exact cause. And then on the 28th, you may have noticed it rained a lot in May. We actually responded to a little bit of a flooding situation on Birchwood Drive. And you know, as much as life safety is our key focus in the fire department, property conservation is right behind there. And we were able to help divert some of the flowing water from going into the garage and out into the street. Just the different ways we try to serve the community. In the month of May, there were 3 overdose events that we dealt with, and also 3 different suicidal individual events that we dealt with through the course of the month. Just, again, the myriad nature of calls that we deal with day to day. We completed 471 inspections through the course of May, and also worked on 7 different fire investigations. We had 20 hours of public education, which contacted 194 people, and we also completed 110 training sessions, totaling 594 hours of training. With regard to the weather warning sirens, if you recall, in the month of May, we didn't get it done on the first Saturday because of just the busyness of the fire department that day. But we did conduct the test on the second Saturday of the month, and all the sirens functioned properly at that time. We retested, of course, the first Saturday in June, and they all functioned properly, although there were some anomalies in the operation of the one on Bavaria Road, so we're having that checked into. And finally, our hydrant flushing project continues. We have completed about 1,150 of the hydrants, a total of 1,900, so we're better than halfway done. So that's my report for this evening.
Thank you.
Chief Noga?
Good evening. During the month of May, the City of Twinsburg Communications Center generated 2,550 calls for service among the Twinsburg Police and Fire Departments and the Reminderville Police and Fire Departments. The total for the year is 11,876. Twinsburg police officers arrested and or cited 169 suspects into court on 253 different counts. Officers issued 263 written warnings in 11 parking sites. Officers investigated 63 traffic crashes, of which 5 were injury crashes, 13 were on private property, and none were fatal. Once again, we are participating in the Special Olympics Law Enforcement Torch Run. It will be Wednesday, June 21st. We'll be kicking off at Hyman sometime between 11:30 and noon. This is a fundraiser for the Special Olympics. Traditionally, what we've done and what we'll do this year is we'll be mountain biking the torch down Route 91 from Heinens to the old Marcelitas. So traffic may be delayed a little bit during that time, but it's very well worth the cause. And I think this is probably about the 7th or 8th year we've participated in it. So It's just another thing that we do to help out our community, folks in our community. So, and that's all I have.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. Chris, you coming out?
Good evening. The service department crews continue with maintenance of the roadways during May. They patched a total of 7 potholes, bringing the yearly total to 2,686. In addition to that, they performed some grinding and filling of bigger areas on Andover and Briardale, and worked their way through a list of 5 locations that were affected by Cleveland water repairs, where we go in there and fix the asphalt. So they did 5 locations, and we have 3 pending, so we should be caught up on that. In addition to that, as far as Cleveland water work goes, we had a list of 20 tree lawn locations where Cleveland water had worked, and we had to restore those tree lawns. So we got all 20 done. So we're pretty much caught up on the Cleveland water locations where repairs were done. So I think that's going a little bit quicker than with Cleveland water doing that work. So that's working out pretty well. In addition, the roadway crack sealing, we had some great weather to work with, and we have used up about 73% of the yearly total. We usually go out there in the spring and fall to do the crack sealing. We were able to get through 73% of our yearly inventory of material. We'll go back out there and finish up in the fall. And one of the things we're going to do in the fall is add the city parking lots, make sure those stay in good shape. So we'll do that in the fall. Street sweeping was completed. This first round took us 29 days to complete. So being the first round of the year, it's pretty heavy out there. So the street sweeper worked very well, and we completed the city, and we removed 91.5 yards of material that we took off those streets. Give you an idea, that machine holds 1.5 yards of material. So they're busy cleaning those streets. Branch chipping, we completed the May chipping. Took us 9 days to get through that program. We had a total of 727 stops. And the June collection began on Monday the 5th, and it either completed today or will complete tomorrow. So we're through June, and we'll be back out there the first Monday in July to start that again. The next couple programs coming up, the sidewalk leveling program, we're getting ready for that now. We're going to start in the Meadowwood subdivision. Again, that's going to start in the next week or two. And then the hydrant painting is we want to finish up the entire city this year. We got a little more than halfway done last year, so that should be we should be able to finish that up. Then they're going to start in the Firelands area, and like I say, we went through our learning curve last year, so we ought to be able to get through the rest of the list pretty quickly. And that is my report.
Thank you.
Hi, Chris. I just want to mention, and this is just so council knows too, we received a request from a resident, Donna Malik, who does a lot of work with the Cuyahoga County Women's Shelter. And she contacted us. One of the issues that they have when the women stay there is places to put their things safely when they spend the night and do things. So they contacted Chris, and Chris and I spoke about it, and they were looking for lockers. So Chris was able to assist them with, I believe, about 50 lockers from the old school that are now part of this women's shelter. So some of the things that we're able to do with some things that have no value and we don't really have anything to do with them. But I just want to thank Chris and their crew, and we got a really sincere letter from Donna saying you don't realize the difference that you've made for that particular shelter and the women that are in a fortunate position they have to stay there. So I just wanted to mention that too.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, those were great lockers. They were actually doubles, and it's more like a wardrobe kind of
Yeah.
configuration, and they were very happy to get those. And, you know, our guys were really happy to have that opportunity, just knowing that what they were doing was going to a good cause.
Yep.
So it was good for us as well.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Derek, are you reporting? No? No? Okay.
Just kidding.
No, he's not.
I want to thank you for approving the community garden sign. Ryan designed that, and we'll get moving on that, so thank you for that. A couple things going on with the community theater. We are doing a kids production, Lion King Jr. That'll be at the end of July. I'll make sure you get those dates. And then we are going to do an adult murder mystery at Blue Canyon. That'll be a ticketed event sometime in September that we just booked. In regards to one of our projects, the fitness center locker room project, we did a walkthrough today. We were just waiting on lights above the shower stalls, so hopefully within the next week or so those are done, and then just a couple of punch list items that we'll be opening up. It does look great so far. The lockers are great, the floor looks great, the colors, everything seems to be coming together nicely there. Water park has been crazy. I mean, this weekend with the temperatures, and this week it has been our biggest deposits we've ever had. We've had so many more new bundle memberships over the last 4 or 5 days than we had even in the beginning. So, and we just got our final shipment of all of our new chairs and tables all came today, so I saw them loading them, taking them out of the truck about this mid-afternoon today. So the water park is coming together. Day camp, we are at almost full capacity for most of our day camps, which is good and bad. We try to take as many people as we can, but there is a limit to what we can hold, especially if we have to move indoors because it's thundering and lightning. We have space issues. In regards to some special events, we did host Reggae Fest back the Friday before Memorial Day, and we did sell that event out. We had to turn people away at the gate for that event. We did sign back up to do that again next year as well. And the mayor had mentioned our first Escape show, the Journey Tribute Band, and the Cavs went well, and we have a couple more coming up. And I know the residents are always interested in the Pops Orchestra. That is July 3rd. We're going to do it on a Monday instead of a Friday night. So July 3rd will be the Cleveland Pops Orchestra show. But that will sell out, so residents do want to get that early. And July 22nd is our Bicentennial Founders Day event. We'll be sending email out. You see some more signs and flyers and posters going out. There's a Facebook page, an event page. But we will have entertainment. We're going to have a community picnic, crafts, a car show, the time capsule that Michael T. Turl mentioned today, a petting zoo, some old-time games. Should be a good family-friendly event on the square July 22nd from 1 to 5. And I do want to echo the mayor's comments about the market on the square. I thought it was a real cool use of the space and kind of what we envisioned other events being there that just haven't caught on. And all the vendors were all great about setting up on the grass and right along the walkways. And you know, people weren't complaining about parking; they just found a place to park and they walked over. It was just kind of a perfect event in that regards. But those vendors will not come back if we do not support them. So everyone wants these great events and all these things here, but the residents need to come out and support them and make sure, you know, I bought a fish for my dad, you know, whittled out of wood for Father's Day. So, you know, things like that, so that these vendors want to come back. But that's all I have. Those 2 pieces of legislation, if there's any other questions on that we discussed. Yes.
I've had residents, I did go to the market day, that was really nice, but residents ask, how do they sign up if they want to have a booth, if they want to be a vendor? Would that be through you?
It's not through me, but I can get them in touch. Okay. I think it's hudsonflea@gmail.com.
It
which
is,
hasn't gotten
yeah.
one created for Twinsburg yet. Or they can just contact me and I can get them in touch.
I'll
Yep.
contact you. Thank you.
I just want to say the pool looks great. So I mean, they were emptying all the chairs out and all the tables and everything. And I mean, it's great to see it. I mean, I know that what's called is no longer open, so I think we've seen a nice influx of people, and you guys have done a nice job handling it. So.
Yeah, and the way Brandon is spacing out the tables and chairs, kind of, you know, used to now they're all around the pool. So now we used to walk in like, oh, it was crowded, but now we've just spread them around so it doesn't feel as crowded, and we haven't had any issues or anything.
Yeah, I went through there today with the chairs and the umbrellas. It really has a resort kind of feel to it now. I mean, it's amazing the difference in the change in the chairs.
Opening up the eating area and all that's just nicely done. So, thank you.
Is there a maximum number of guests that can go to the outdoor
There
pool?
is a maximum of people that can be in the pool at one time and a maximum of people to be in the fence, but we haven't ever come anywhere. I don't know what they are off the top of my head, but we've never come close to that before.
Oh, okay.
But there is. I think May I will take about a couple years ago, I know we had to stop, but then people, all it is just come and go. I mean, so
Yeah.
they leave and then you can open up more spots, but it's been a while.
Okay.
Thanks, Derek.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
All
Is
right.
that it?
Colette? Larry, are you waiting to go, Ted?
Sure.
Okay.
Good evening, Council. From the Civil Service, there was a police entrance exam held on May 21st. Originally, we had 46 applicants. 5 of them, actually, the test was a 2-part test. There was an agility test that they had to pass, and if they passed the agility test, then they could go ahead and take the written test. So of the 46 applicants, 5 of them didn't show up for the agility test. 7 of them didn't pass the agility test. So that left 34 people who took the written exam. 26 of them passed and 8 failed. So then it was a 1 week week for them to come in and review their tests, and we had 2 or 3 guys come in and review the test, but there were no appeals. So at the Civil Service meeting on June 8th, they did certify the list for the police entrance exam. Civil Service also is going to be taking a look at their rules and regulations for civil service. They haven't done it in a few years, so they're going to be kind of updating some of their policies and procedures at their next meeting, which is on July 13th. IT-wise, Don was on vacation last week, so Mark and Zach kind of held down the fort. They installed an Ethernet line up at the Park so that we could watch the Cavs game, and he also installed, if I got this right, a Wi-Fi in that green room trailer. Is that what you guys call it? It's like a trailer that's off the stage where, you know, the bands and stuff kind of sit in there, and we got a nice place to sit. So, and then our phones are being delivered. Our new phones are being delivered this week. So, HR-wise, I sent you guys a copy of the proposed job description for the banquet center. We're hoping to get that published tomorrow. That's going to start out as a part-time consulting position. I think it's pretty well laid out there is what all is going to be encompassed in the responsibilities for that role. So look to that, or look for that to be out on our website tomorrow, the next day. If there was any questions about that, you could let me know or just email me. Prescription Fitness is our new wellness program partner. They met with employees this week they met one-on-one with employees in kind of private meetings. So sometimes they wanted to get some feedback as to what's working, what's not working, what do you want to see in our wellness program. Some people sometimes maybe have a little bit of a medical condition or just something personal that they want to talk to them about. So they had one-on-one meetings with our employees, and they were pretty happy about the different feedback that they got. So hopefully we can customize that program a little bit and make it something that everybody can take part in, and also their family. They ask them about their families, their kids, you know, what would you guys want to see as far as activities like that goes. So hopefully we'll be rolling out some new offerings in that wellness program. We did hire a full-time custodian, Crystal Prince, here at City Hall. We haven't had a full-time dedicated one for a while since we lost James. But if you see her in the hallway, her name is Crystal. And then our next employee appreciation lunch is going to be at the fire station on June 21st. And I just wanted to give you a heads up on some, that we have 2 or 3 little changes to 147 that I'll be presenting at the next council meeting. That's it.
Thank you.
While Larry's walking up, just to clarify a couple of things. So Prescription Fitness is a new component of the wellness program. It's not an increase in the budget of the wellness program. So Andre, who we were paying on a contractual basis, has now just transferred as a regular instructor at the fitness center. He's doing his own private training on his own. So that is out of any budget of ours. He only gets paid if he works as an instructor over there. So just to let council know, if you have any other questions about that, and again, I encourage council to participate in anything that we offer from Wellness Point standpoint. And we really didn't hire a full-time custodian at City Hall here. We hired a full-time custodian that became part of a custodial pool. So this custodial pool has been working with Chris and a foreman, and the design of this team is to be able to all be cross-trained on every building we have. So they could be rotating in and out of City Hall, the fitness center, Derek's building, part of this was anticipating the golf course opening. We're going to need a significant amount of more custodial work at the banquet facility and golf course, potentially working through Chris's building. So, rather than having designated people stationed for full-time hours at a particular building, we really don't need that. So we have a couple of full-timers and some part-timers that have formed a pool that's going to be moving throughout all of our facilities, helping keeping them clean. So. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. Just a couple of things. On the agenda tonight is Resolution 77, 2017. It's the top agreement for ABA Direct. This is a company that has about $1 million payroll moving to the city to Midway Drive from Twinsburg Township. And we're offering them a 30% Twinsburg Occupancy Program grant for a period of 5 years. We received a letter from US EPA regarding the brownfield mitigation application that we sent last November. We did not rank highly enough in the grant process to be awarded the $200,000. It's very competitive, as we've mentioned before, and unfortunately, with a small project like ours, we didn't make enough impact to warrant a grant. However, we did receive a $25,000 grant from the Summit County Land Reutilization Corporation, the Summit County Land Bank, to be used for demolition of the old school, and we have a grant agreement currently being reviewed for signature to accept that $25,000. Also, we're completing the demolition specifications to be put together for an RFP that will get secure prices for the demolition of the old school, and then make our minds up at that point where we're going from there. We're also now beginning the Connecting Communities project. That was a $25,000 grant through AMATS for a $33,000 project that will help us identify connections from the trail networks to the central business district. And that's really all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes our reports.
Thank you. Okay, next we have legislation. Ordinance 61, 2017.
An ordinance amending Chapter 927 titled Municipal Snow Removal Services of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Twinsburg.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance 61, 2017. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mrs. Stauffer, second. Discussion? This is the ordinance dealing with the changes in the snow removal program offered by the city. Any other comments? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Sorese?
Yes.
Mrs. Stauffer?
Yes.
Mr. Roden?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Ms. McFerrin?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Ordinance 61, 2017 passes 7-0. Ordinance 66.
An ordinance approving the recodification, editing, and inclusion of certain ordinances as part of the various component codes of the codified ordinances of Twinsburg, Ohio.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance 66, 2017. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Fury, second. Discussion? This is the, as stated, the recodification and editing of component parts of the code. Any other comments? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Sorese?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Roden?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Ms. McFerrin?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mrs. Stauffer?
Yes.
Ordinance 66, 2017 passes 7-0. Ordinance 69.
An ordinance amending Section 181.10, disbursement of receipts of tax collection of the codified ordinances of the City of Twinsburg to provide for allocation of revenues between the general fund and the capital improvement and the SCMR funds.
That was the second reading on that. Ordinance 70, 2017.
An ordinance adopting the tax budget of the City of Twinsburg, Ohio for the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2018, and submitting the same to the county auditor.
That was the first reading on ordinance 70. Ordinance 71.
An ordinance amending the current year appropriations for the various general revenue accounts as established in Ordinance 108, 2016, the appropriation ordinance of the City of Twinsburg for the year 2017 and declaring an emergency.
I'd like to put ordinance 71, 2017 on its third and final reading and declare it an emergency. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Fury seconds. Discussion?
The reason for the emergency is we're just simply reallocating some funds in salary and wages, retirement, and rents as leases, as we discussed earlier this evening.
Thank you. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Sorese?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Ms. McFerrin?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Roden?
Yes.
The emergency clause passes 7-0. I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance 71, 2017 as an emergency. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Fury second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Sorese?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Roden?
Yes.
Ms. McFerrin?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Ordinance 71, 2017 passes 7-0 as an emergency. Ordinance 72.
An ordinance amending the current year appropriations for the various general revenue accounts as established in Ordinance 108, 2016, the appropriation ordinance for the City of Twinsburg for the year 2017, and declaring an emergency.
I'd like to put ordinance 72, 2017 on its third and final reading and declare it an emergency. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mrs. Stoffer seconds. Discussion.
The reason for the emergency is this is to put some money towards the AFSCME union contract, and the emergency allows us to do it as soon as possible, and it's already been agreed to.
Any other discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Sorese?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Ms. McFerrin?
Yes.
Mr. Roden?
Yes.
The emergency clause passes 7-0. Now I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance 72, 2017 as an emergency. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Roden seconds. Discussion. Roll call, please.
Mr. Sorese?
Yes.
Mr. Roden?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Ms. McFerrin?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Ordinance 72, 2017 passes 7-0 as an emergency. Ordinance 73.
An ordinance amending the current year appropriations for the various general revenue accounts as established in Ordinance 108, 2016, the appropriation ordinance of the City of Twinsburg for the year 2017, and declaring an emergency.
I'd like to put ordinance 73, 2017 on its third and final reading and declare it an emergency. Is there a second?
A second.
Mr. Fury seconds. Discussion?
The reason for the emergency is this is towards the purchase of a floor scrubber that was approved by the Capital Improvement Board, but
No, this one's legal fees,
Oh,
so.
excuse me.
This is amending the budget of legal department due
Excuse me.
to some.
That's the
yeah,
next one.
Yep.
Unanticipated litigation we were involved in.
So,
Any other discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Sorese?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Ms. McFerrin?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Roden?
Yes.
Emergency clause passes 7-0. I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance 73, 2017 as an emergency. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Steele seconds. Roll call, please.
Mr. Sorese?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Ms. McFerrin?
Yes.
Mr. Roden?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Ordinance 73, 2017 passes 7-0 as an emergency. Ordinance 74.
An ordinance amending the current year appropriations for the various general revenue accounts as established in Ordinance 108, 2016, the appropriation ordinance of the City of Twinsburg for the year 2017, and declaring an emergency.
I'd like to put ordinance 74, 2017 on its third and final reading and declare it an emergency. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Fury seconds. Discussion.
Now it's the floor scrubber.
Any other discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Sorese?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Ms. McFerrin?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Roden?
Yes.
Emergency clause passes 7-0. I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance 74, 2017 as an emergency. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Yield.
Mrs. Stoffer seconds. Roll call, please.
Mr. Sorese?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Mr. Roden?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Ms. McFerrin?
Yes.
Ordinance 74, 2017 passes 7-0 as an emergency. Ordinance 75.
An ordinance amending the current year appropriations for the various special revenue accounts as established in Ordinance 108, 2016, the appropriation ordinance of the City of Twinsburg for the year 2017, and declaring an emergency.
I'd like to put Ordinance 75, 2017 on its third and final reading and declare it an emergency. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Fury seconds. Discussion?
The reason for the emergency is that there's some electrical work that needs to be done at Glen Meadow Park with Ohio Edison, and we need to get it done as quickly as possible. And this allows us to do that now. Glenn Chamberlain.
This is also the other part of the floor scrubber.
Yeah. Okay.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Sorese?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Ms. McFerrin?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Roden?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Emergency clause passes 7-0. I'd like to make a motion to adopt Ordinance 75, 2017 as an emergency. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Roden seconds. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Sorese?
Yes.
Mr. Roden?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Ms. McFerrin?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Ordinance 75, 2017 passes 7-0 as an emergency. Resolution 76.
A resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with the Village of Glen Willow, the Village of Oakwood, and the City of Macedonia regarding the operation, maintenance, and service of the traffic signal at the intersection of Richmond, Broadway, Ravenna, and Shepherd Roads.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt Resolution 76, 2017. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Ms. McFerrin seconds. Discussion. This is the city taking over.
Yeah, this is, as we move forward with finalizing that intersection, there's 3 communities involved, so this is the agreement regarding maintenance updates, upgrades, any other issues that would have a financial impact on the other communities. This is agreement to share those costs. I believe if anything's over $10,000, then we all have to get back together and work out whatever that repair or upgrade's going to be and enter into a separate agreement.
Any other discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Sorese?
Yes.
Ms. McFerrin?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. Roden?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Resolution 76, 2017 passes 7-0. Resolution 77.
A resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Freedom USA Incorporated, doing business as Ava Direct, to provide tax incentives under the terms and conditions of the Twinsburg Occupancy Program.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt Resolution 77, 2017. Is there a second?
I'll second. Oh, great.
Go ahead.
I'll second.
Ms. McFerrin, second. Discussion.
Our top program is Twinsburg Occupancy Program, where we allow a slight deduction in income tax to bring in additional salaries and jobs to the city, to buildings that need to be that are not in use right now.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Sorese?
Yes.
Ms. McFerrin?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Roden?
Yes.
Resolution 77, 2017 passes 7-0. Ordinance 78.
A resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a community reinvestment agreement with Sylphium Grow LLC and MLP Realty LTD and declaring an emergency.
I'd like to put Ordinance 78, 2017 on its third and final reading and declare it an emergency.
It's a
So
resolution.
resolution.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Resolution.
Just pass this.
Just needs to be adopted as an emergency.
As an emergency?
Mhm.
Then I would like to make a motion to adopt Resolution 78, 2017 as an emergency.
I'll second.
Mr. Scafidi, second. Discussion?
Wait.
We can go into a little bit of
Yeah.
dialogue. So this is, as you know, and I shared this a little bit with some council at CIC meeting, but we've been approached by multiple organizations, very sophisticated organizations, that want to apply for a license to cultivate medical marijuana here in Twinsburg. It's my understanding there's 12 small facilities and 12 large facilities that will be awarded licenses. We've met with several of them. They all seem to be very well funded, very sophisticated. This particular organization has a current facility in Twinsburg that meets all the criteria to operate a medical marijuana cultivation and processing facility. And they have offered to, I guess, reinvest some of the proceeds from this facility back into Twinsburg. And it's been a very challenging set of dialogue between us and their legal counsel, because this is something that they're offering to do. This is nothing that we've imposed as any tax or any fee or any pay-to-play kind of thing here in Twinsburg, where other communities are setting up ordinances forcing significant, some six-figure fees to actually operate this. Twinsburg has chosen not to do that. You guys have seen a presentation for this particular organization. This is just something that, since they've been a long-standing business here in Twinsburg, they want to see Twinsburg continue to strive and want to help financially with doing that. So there's other components that we've looked at, because there is an unknown with this particular type of operation. They're heavily regulated, and the security that they have to put into place is significant. However, there is and still could be an impact on our safety forces as well as other services that the city office offers. So to handle that, we've come up with a, Mr. Maestro has helped over the last week or so, really spent a lot of time working with several attorneys from Tucker and Ellis to create a community investment agreement where part of the proceeds could handle any impact that would come because of the operation of this business, and then there would be an actual direct payment to the CIC to help fund any redevelopment efforts that the CIC has as part of their goals. So we're looking at 2.5% really contribution by this facility, 1.5% going to the city, and then 1% going to the Community Improvement Corp to help with redevelopment efforts. So it's kind of a summary. I might have missed something. I don't know if there was anything.
I think that covers it. I mean, like I said, like the mayor said, the agreement memorializes all the offers and all the statements made by the developer. So.
But typically, CRA agreements handle abatements with property tax, and there is not an abatement of any sort in this. This is a very unique CRA, the first one I've seen of this kind since I've been on council.
Well, it's actually, if I could, the CRAs that you guys see are community reinvestment area agreements, and this is a community reinvestment agreement being a CRA. So it is slightly different in that there is no abatement attached to it.
Just wanted to make sure that that was brought up.
Right.
Yeah, it is a very unusual situation. We have a company that has made a formal commitment to the city to take a percentage of its revenues to reinvest back into the community, and to cover any potential impact that business may have on our services. When you start researching impact fees, different municipalities have imposed those through ordinances for particular developers or certain developments that come in that might have an impact on their safety forces, on their roadways, on anything like that. This is not a fee that we've imposed. It's just something that this particular owner has recognized and has with it the ability to offset any of those additional costs, as well as, I guess, contribute back to seeing some reinvestment back in the city and some of the growth of the city. So it has been like I said, a challenging agreement because it is opposite. Usually businesses are coming saying, give me abatement, give me money. This is kind of the opposite. They're actually anticipating successful operations, but then want to contribute some of those back toward the city.
So I have a question.
Sure.
What if this company doesn't get the license, but someone else gets the license? Would we be able to look at something like that?
It's not anything that, like I said, we're imposing on any other organization. It's just something that this particular company is offered to, and there may be others that apply for Twinsburg, and I think this particular owners understand that, yeah, I mean, it may be awarded. We don't know. If it's not awarded to this company, then this agreement means nothing, and or if it's awarded to another company for a site located in Twinsburg. The other businesses I met with have identified potential sites, but I don't know to what extent they've secured a site or entered in any kind of agreements and are applying for Twinsburg.
Any other comments? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Sorese?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Ms. McFerrin?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Roden?
Yes. Resolution 78, 2017 passes 7-0. Unfinished business. I'd like to start off by making a motion to adopt the new rules of council as written by Ms. McFerrin and myself and handed out to council previously.
I'll second.
Mr. Fury seconds. Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Sorese?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Roden?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Ms. McFerrin?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Shannon, I will get you a copy exactly of what we discussed and published.
Thank you.
And now, Mr. Scafidi.
I have nothing further tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Stoffer?
I wanted to congratulate the graduates of the high school, and that's all.
Thank you. Mr. Fury?
Briefly, Mr. Maestros, did we receive any feedback from the Board of Elections regarding the submission of the new wards?
Shannon, did you get anything back? I mean, I know we took it down there and they received it. We haven't received it.
We have not received anything back yet.
Negative, positive, one way or
It's
another.
been about 2 weeks, or about 2 months since we did
No.
that?
Not that long.
Okay. Just,
We'll follow up.
I can follow up
and see.
tomorrow.
I mean, I know they received it.
we have to redo the map, and they'll have to do the notifications, and
Right.
I know there's going to be some questions, so thank you.
Yep.
That's all I have.
Mr. Roden?
I have nothing this evening, thank you.
Mr. Steele?
Nothing.
Thank you. Ms. McFerrin?
I have nothing.
Thank you. Mayor?
Nothing further from me.
Mr. Maestros, anything?
Nothing, thank you.
Shannon?
Nothing, thank you.
Then the meeting is adjourned.